everybody, and welcome again to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report on TV3. Brent, Duncan joins us of CHS with a lot of news for this week and weeks to come, perhaps. But first of all, let's review what happened last week. Pretty good week for Spartan basketball.
Yeah, I mean, both girls and boys
Yes.
for the weekend. So, Lady Spartans took on Greenfield on Saturday, knocked them off. And
Came within 2 of upsetting Union County.
yeah, I think we went and got off to a rough start in the first half. We're down 20-6, and
Didn't score in the second quarter, did
had
we?
a chance.
Nope.
No, had a chance to pull that one back and
Yes.
have a chance to win it. But,
Yes.
We're getting there. It's just a matter of time. And then really we kind of threw a little bit of an egg against Greenfield early and put the clamps down on them in the second half and pulled away from that one. So good win for them.
Girls looked good in both games.
They
didn't
did,
Sam?
and I liked in the Union County game, down 14 at halftime, didn't score in the second quarter, but continued to chip away and battled back. And a lot of that's got to do with attitude, I think. And so the right attitude's being instilled in these young ladies.
When you win, you have a winning attitude. And the girls improve in every game, it seems like.
Yes, they did.
Well, I think they haven't been in enough of those situations the last couple of years to know what it's like to win. So I think when they get that taste of that, they'll know how to put those games away. We hit a big 3 to cut the lead to 2 late in the fourth quarter, and then Gray girl turned around and hit a big 3 to put them right back up 5. And hopefully we'll make those stops in the future. But
Yes.
they didn't fold, and they came back on Saturday morning and played Greenfield tough. And we're sitting at 5-7, not where we want to be, but it's better than where we have been. And
Sure.
got Batesville coming Tuesday, try to get us a conference win, and I think that had to put us 2-2 in the conference, if I remember correctly, with 3 to go. And of course, we got some tough ones at the end: East Central and Rushville and South there, or Lawrenceburg, whichever one's
Franklin
left.
County.
I can't remember who's left. Franklin County. Oh, that's Friday. Batesville next Tuesday. So
We're nearing the end of the season, and sectional just around the corner.
yeah, the rosters are due in about 4 or 5 days, and got to turn the referee survey in today. And
When is
it's hard
that
to
draw?
imagine. I haven't looked at the date, but it's typically about 2 weeks prior to the start. So we're going to play the first week of February. So I'm going to say in the next 10 days we ought to be able to have the draw.
I believe it's on the 23rd.
I'm going to say
week
it's got to
from
be
Sunday.
close. So be streamed live on the IHSATV.org site. So don't do them live on TV anymore. So different.
You find out who you play, and we know it's for sure playing at Rushville.
It's at Rushville. Hopefully we'll get a bye. Take the
February
bye on Friday.
2nd and 3rd, and they take Wednesday off, I think, and then play 5th and
Friday,
6th. Yes.
Yeah, and if we happen to draw a bye, we're going to try to pick up a game on that Saturday, so we don't have an 8-day layoff or whatever it is. So Hauser's agreed to play us on that Saturday if we draw the bye. That's a big if. So
How's the playoff affect players in a different way?
I think it depends on your experience at playing.
Okay.
How many times you played, and we're pretty young still. So a lot of our girls that are playing, 3 or 4 of them have played in a tournament, but not many of them, because we're still pretty young.
Yeah,
So.
2 seniors this year.
Well, we got 3. We got
3.
Bailey and Emily
Okay.
and
That's right.
and Elise, and then they all played last year, and then Sarah and Paige played, and Brittany, and then after that we were kind of thin. I know Carson played possibly at Newcastle last year in their tournament, but so we'll see. But just everybody reacts differently. Sometimes the pressure gets to them, and it
Yes.
makes a little bit of difference in how they play. So
It's nice that the tournament is close at Memorial Gym in Rushville. While I'd rather it be here, that's better than going other places.
it's a much better drive for us.
Much better
So,
drive for us.
it's a tough
better place
gym.
to call a game from than where it was last year.
South Dearborn last year, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, maybe it was. I was thinking Lawrenceburg, but
You don't like that corner post up there in that
can't
corner.
see up there.
There's a reason for that. So it's called by feel. How the flow of the game's going.
Fran can watch a monitor, but I don't have that monitor.
No, so. But other than that, the boys played well on Friday night. A tough one down at Greensburg.
Certainly did.
Battled to the end, and unfortunately had to go an extra 4 minutes because they knocked the bucket in with 2.5 seconds to go to tie it at whatever it was, 38 or whatever it is at that
It was
time.
tied at 38, yes.
And then bounced back Saturday and played well against Newcastle.
Had a great overtime though at Greensburg, and
held Greensburg 30 points or more under their season average, which was
Quite
impressive.
a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they were averaging 73 and they got 41 or 42 or whatever it was. So
It was 40, 41, yes.
so
Um,
knockdown drag out every time we go down there.
well, that was a defensive game.
Yeah, I mean they're well coached. Stacy does a great job
Yes.
with them, and Stacy wasn't able to be there. I think he had some health issues with his father, so I think he was with his dad that night. And if you remember, a couple years ago, Kerry was at the same weekend with his dad. And we hope everything's okay. I haven't heard, so keep our
We'll
thoughts
hope
and
so.
prayers with the Greensburg people, and hopefully his dad's doing well.
This team's very similar except for the offensive averages, but that always doesn't mean a lot.
Nah, look at the defensive column. That's where we're going to look.
That's
So.
for sure. But Coach Stacy Meyer, Greensburg, and Carey are very much alike.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few guys in our conference that have learned a lot, or just kind of like Kerry. It's a style that they play. When
Yes.
you know that we talked about that before. When you're equally talented and the possessions are important, they're not in a big hurry. So we don't have too many people in our conference just comes down and jacks it up and runs up and down the floor. So you know, Disbro does the same thing at East Central, and Aaron does the same thing at Batesville, and you know, I'm sure Cutter at Lawrenceburg, now that he's been under Kerry for a while, will have the same game plan coming forward. So, you know, you got the two different guys at Franklin County and with Eric, and Eric was with Disbro for a long time at East Central. So
Doug Laker was with Kerry
so
for
they're
a
all
long time.
going
Doug
to be
over at
similar.
Rushville.
So Lawrenceburg's kind of South German's kind of the odd one that's been different than everybody else. They've all been around each other for a long period of time.
Yeah,
so.
these coaches are learning that defense wins games.
Well, I think if our people haven't figured that out in the last 11 years, then they've not been watching the games very well, because, you know, we have a lot of coaches and officials compliment our kids on how hard they play and how well they
That's
play
good.
and move their feet. So
And the discipline it takes to do that.
I don't think that people understand how hard it is, whether it's male or female, you know, that lateral movement and playing the angles and cutting the drives off. It's so easy how quick kids are to give that lane up, and it takes a lot of practice. You know, I think back to when Howard Renner was here, and he was the same kind of mold of defense wins a lot of games, and I know how much time we spent on defense compared to offense. And coaching football with Russ Radke, it was 3 days of defense, and if you got 45 minutes of offense, you were lucky. So I think all those coaches that are very successful for the most part understand that that's the side that you win on. So I use it as a math term. You know, defense is a constant and offense is a variable. It comes and goes, but you can always give effort and have heart to play defense. So I think it'll be all right.
Yes. I believe
like
in the
that.
series of Greensburg, Connersville games, that had to be one of the best, especially in recent years.
You know, Dave's been asking me a question of trying to pick my brain all season long. And he wanted to know the most exciting Greensburg game that I had seen. And I told him it was maybe 92 or 93 when I first started doing this, and we went down there and won one at the Horn. I said, but this one on Saturday night was equally impressive. But, do you remember that?
Well, I was probably there.
You were probably there as
I don't remember for the game. It'd be about the year that Lynch and Miller and Munchell and those guys were seniors. So,
Well, 3 years ago when Connersville won their last game over Greensburg, it was here at Spartan Bowl, 44 to 42 in overtime, I believe, or 42 to 40. And then Greensburg's had our number for the last couple of years. They won in that
We've
one
had a
year, and
few
then last
Division
year
I
they won.
players.
They won us in the game, or they beat us in the sectional and regular season games. So it was time.
They've had a couple of Division I players walk through there in the last 5 years.
Yes,
so.
they have.
Started at Northwestern, and they got one at Ball State, and they got somebody someplace else, and there's a couple of kids on this team that's probably going to go somewhere. So
Yeah, the Sparks kid, I think, is going to Huntington. That's what I was told. But, not
Yeah, they may
D1,
not
but
be
still,
D1,
but still playing at the next level.
yeah, I don't think people realize how good the next level is, no matter what level you're at. Those at D1 are the elite. Then there's the rest of them that are pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of those kids don't care about the elite; they just want to go play. And those are the kind of kids that play hard. When you get five of
And
those
we've-
kids,
Look, the ones we've seen the last few years
Correct.
like that.
and you get five of those kids from a school that's not the best player, but the second or third best player that just wants to win, that makes a solid basketball team. So,
College ball is a lot faster, I'm always told by fellows that move up to college than high school.
well, I think every level you move up. I think when you see freshmen come up to the JV, they struggle early because the speed of the game is different. They're not just playing other 13-year-olds; they're playing 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds. And they don't understand that there's a little bit more quickness and size. And some do and some don't, but that's a learning experience.
Yes.
If you don't ever get out to do it, you don't know how fast you got to play in practice to actually simulate what's in the game time. And I mean, I couldn't imagine being an NBA player. You think of what we're doing at 6'2", and they're doing it at 6'10" and 6'11". And, it makes it looks easy. And we know how sometimes our kids struggle at the high school level. So there is a reason why those guys get paid millions of dollars, because they are one in a million. So.
Well, it's interesting how it works out as you go up the steps and everything. But
yeah, it's a survival of the fittest.
But it all starts when they're down here at this
Yeah,
size.
at that age you just don't know, and it's hard when you see people get cut or not be able to make things, no matter what sport it is, because you don't know what they're going to be like 10 years from now. You see them at 5 and 6, and some of those 5 and 6-year-olds are huge, but by the time they get to be 13 or 14, they're just average, and the little bitty scrawny guy is big and tall, or muscular or strong or quick or whatever it is, and you just don't know.
let's look at the schedule for this week, and you can straighten things out.
I'll do the best I can.
Okay. Gymnastics team meets New Palestine and Newcastle on Tuesday, 6:30 CHS gym, but that's wrong, right?
Well, we're still having it, although only 2 girls from New Pal are coming, because the rest of them are in quarantine. But Newcastle will be here full-fledged, as far as I know, as of today. So.
In the gymnastics team, when you don't have a full team, is it like in wrestling? You lose points before you ever begin?
No, they'll have a chance to win some ribbons in the individual events.
Okay.
They just won't win the team event. So the only 2 teams that will actually play will be Newcastle and Connorsville. So.
And you have wrestling, and it's moved to Spartan Bowl to take on Hagerstown, is that right?
Yeah, we're going to have in the Spartan Bowl. It's going to be senior night. We're also going to have we're going to wrestle Hagerstown first. They only have about 7 wrestlers, so we won't have many matches, but then Newcastle's going to come and wrestle us after that. Obviously, it's 2 tickets per person only, but that'll be senior night. They're going to do a little thing for Coach Taylor again at wrestling.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
he wrestled at Newcastle, and his high school coach is going to come and talk a little bit. And we'll see how all that goes. So
The coach
they have it planned.
that
Rex Peckinpah.
At in school?
Yeah.
Very good.
He was there for
Very nice.
many, many years. So
That's great.
got out a couple of years ago. So we're going to wrestle them after we wrestle Hagerstown, but you got to have 45 minutes between your matches. Okay. So by the time they do the shindigs, and we'll do senior night before the Hagerstown game, and then we'll go from there. We'll see how it works.
Nice event, yes. Freshman boys basketball at Muncie Central at 6. Is that still on as far as you know?
Yeah, in fact, they're on the road right now going to Beach Grove to play tonight. So
Okay.
they better be on the bus here in a short order, getting ready to head that way.
It's Indianapolis, right? Beach Grove. Mm-hmm. And on Thursday, swimming at Centerville at 5:30. That's the annual pink night, something.
I don't know how many are doing pink out nights just because of the situation that we're in, but
Yes.
we're going to Centerville. There's no spectators again, but I will put the link out as where you can watch it on the internet before we get to Thursday. So I got that from them today, so we'll
Good.
get that put out there.
Gymnastics team will be traveling to Rushville.
Now they're coming here. Gymnastics is home against Rushville, and it is senior night that night. So
Okay, very good.
they'll be in the high school starting at 6:30.
And boys basketball on JV and varsity at Shelbyville. That's wiped out.
That was good until 8:25 this morning, and that has now been changed as their basketball teams are back in quarantine. So currently, if things go well, we're going to play Fishers Friday night at 6 o'clock. Thursday night at 6 o'clock at Fishers. But that's depending on the results of a test from one of their varsity basketball players. So we're still in flux, but that's the tentative plan, unless we can find another opponent between now and then that we can guarantee that we're going to play. So
Fishers is a good team.
Yeah, they're solid. So it'll be
Right.
a good travel for us.
Yeah, it'd be a great win for the Spartans.
And we were looking for a girls' game for Tuesday, but just some things for us didn't work out well, and we didn't schedule a game, and we have a little bit of sickness, so probably wasn't a good time to have a game on Tuesday. Then.
Right. The Lady Spartans basketball on Friday with Franklin County at Spartan Bowl, JV and varsity, 6 and 7:30.
Still a go.
Good. Till you get a phone call.
Conference game.
Let's hope not. Be a conference game.
Wrestling at South Dearborn. That's the conference meet. Starts at 9 in the morning, and swimming, diving will be at South Dearborn at 11 o'clock. Spartan basketball, home games with Noblesville freshman, JV, and varsity. Start times 6 and 7:30. 6 o'clock the JV and freshman start JV game.
Yeah, freshmen will be in the Spartan Arena at
Okay.
6, and JV will be in the bowl, and then
Yes.
we'll put out the link to the. I'm not sure. I haven't read for the EIC if they're going to show that on a live stream for the wrestling. I know swimming, they'll have a YouTube channel they can watch for the Saturday swim
Good.
meet. We'll get all that stuff put out on our website, and I'll tweet it out. So
Fine. Here are the records of boys area basketball teams. Union County 2-7. They lost their last ball game 69-52 to, shouldn't be Union County. I'm not sure who that is. At Randolph Southern on Tuesday, the Union County Patriots. Richmond is 2-4. They haven't played since December 22nd due to the virus restrictions. They are scheduled to play Tuesday at Northbound in Ohio. Rushville is 0-8. The Lions having a lot of problems, losing 74-34 to East Central. They'll be at Morristown Friday. Franklin County 5-4. They won 69-52 over Union County. Saturday at Lawrenceburg. Centerville is 2-6. They lost 61-53 to Cambridge City. Friday home to Knightstown. Cambridge City is 4-6. They've lost their last ball game 64-26 to Northeastern. Home Friday with Tri. Here are how the girls are looking, the girls' teams. Cambridge City is 3-10. They lost 76-20 to Northeastern at Winchester on Tuesday. Centerville 1-8. They lost 44-28 to Cambridge City. Home Tuesday to Shenandoah. Franklin County 6-12. Lost to Greensburg 59-34 at Spartan Bowl on Friday. Richmond is 7-4. They won 44-25 at Newcastle. Game with the Lady Spartans Tuesday canceled. Rushville is 11-6, losing 57-50 to Greensburg. Plays Shelbyville on Tuesday. Union County 10-3, 46-39 over Eastern Hancock. Home with Union County on Wednesday. We're in the last 3 weeks of the girls' schedule. Ends on 28th for Connorsville, and some of the other teams play on the 29th. But,
yeah, it's hard to imagine that we're at that time of the year already.
That's
We're
right.
almost halfway through January, and we talked about it many times. If we thought we'd be playing now, I think most of us as ADs would have thought we would be crazy. But I think it's been good for the kids, and if we can get some more games in for
Sure.
the girls between then, it's just getting hard right now with the crunch time with limited space in your days, and you don't want to get too many games in a week. So we'll still continue to try to pick up a game here or there if we can get them picked up. It's just seems to have been a little tougher to find girls opponents than it does guys opponents for some reason.
Still an opportunity for them to finish above 500.
Yeah, and that'd be good, and then with everybody coming back, and of course we're going to lose those 3 seniors, but, have a good nucleus of girls coming back for next year, and let's hope we make a pretty deep run in the tournament. We get to that time, and I do think we're playing better, and I think the girls have more confidence, so, obviously there's some strong girls teams in our conference. Rushville's always strong, and East Central will be good, and, Lawrenceburg gave us a pretty good ball game. But the rest of them we've kind of hung in there and battled with, so. Obviously, East Central's not in our sectional, so if we get the right draw and the right mix and the right day, we saw what happened when we kind of threw a goose egg over at Richmond in a boys' game. And then, just never know. It just depends on the day and how the ball bounces, so to speak.
Well, hopefully when the girls' season's over and warm weather comes around, that Coach Harder will have summer to work with.
Well, I think she's excited about having a summer just to get the girls in there to work on the. We've talked about it many times, no matter what sport it is, you develop the game in the summertime and you just hone your skills in the fall where you showcase what you learned in the summertime. And she, unfortunately, with a couple other coaches, have not had the opportunity to do that as much as they would like to. And I know she's excited about having some type of little Spartan kids camp for the kids. And then, whether it's, she had a name for it, I can't remember, some type of smash thing where it's a 4, 5, 6 week weekend thing for the youth kids to get involved in. And
Great.
where she can get our high school kids kind of like Dirt Road to help coach and be a part of them. And that's good for our little girls and our high school girls as well to be the person trying to instruct instead of being the one getting instructed to all the time. There's a big difference between
and
listening and teaching.
They become role models for those little girls.
Yeah, and I think that'll draw them to the game. So if they get that personal connection with the high school kids and then they want to go see them play. So it'll be good. I just hope that summer's opened up and we can do the things that we get to do. And we'll see. I think we'll get a good taste of that when spring rolls around, what summer might look like.
Exactly.
Of how much we can open up the outside events to, get people back in. Hopefully we can do it in the spring. That way when we get back to the fall, people will know that it's okay to come to the football games and come to the soccer games and volleyball games, especially the outdoor events. I'm sure there are people still going to be a little hesitant to indoor, but when you get to the outdoor events and we can space you out a little bit and be outside, hopefully that'll open up a little bit and we won't have our restrictions as much. But who knows where we're headed yet. So
We see the results of what a coach with a long tenure does with Brent, starting with the youngsters, as you point out, when they're 5 and 6 years old, I guess, in the early going.
I told Michelle when she got here, and just with Carrie, if you want to just talk basketball, you can talk whatever sport you want to be. I think the cupboard was more bare when Michelle took over than it was when Carrie took over.
Probably.
And it still took Carrie a good 5 years to get his system in place and get what he wants. And so it's going to be the same with Michelle. And, and like I said, in the 2 years she's been here, we definitely see some improvements in things that the girls are doing. Different style ball than we used to play. Not good or bad, just different.
Yes.
And she's adapted it well. She presses a little bit more. And, I think the girls have adjusted to it and enjoy playing it that way. So, and if they're having fun and seeing themselves win, that's only going to be helpful. And, we've seen that in swimming. A lot of our kids at the conference meet had their personal best records. And unfortunately for them, they haven't had a lot of time in the water because they've been the most quarantined team that we've had at the high school. But we did have one conference champion. Quentin Jones won the diving. So we did have one
great.
conference championship person. And the boys finished third and the girls finished fourth. And we don't have big numbers, so that's positive. We had a lot more depth. We would get a little higher, but the boys held into second almost all the way to the end and kind of got nipped out at the end of second place. But a lot of the kids had their personal best. And that's not just the personal best for this year. That's their personal best they've had since they've been in the program. So if you can see that you're getting your personal best as a junior or senior, then you know you're working at it and things are going in the right direction. We just have to get more numbers. And swimming is not an easy sport, as Sam's grandson will attest to. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of
Year-round
commitment.
work.
So, and it is year-round. There are certain, not every sport is year-round, but certain sports are more year-round than necessary. And swimming would be one of those. Gymnastics would be one of those because your body shape's changing all the time. I can go out in my backyard and shoot hoops, but I can't always go out in my backyard and swim or flip on a beam or on a bar. And if you take that time off, your body gets that strength goes away and that core strength goes away. So it's important that they do it all year round, and it's hard for parents to understand that sometimes. So
Doesn't the swimmers have early morning practices?
yeah, they start in there about 6 in the morning for dry land workouts some days, and then some days they're in the pool in the morning, and then they do their dry land workouts after school. So it gets to be a long time and a lot of time in the pool, but it's hard to do your swimming in the pool and then still do your dry land workout on the same day at the same time because there's just not enough time.
Takes a lot of dedication out of athletes, doesn't it?
Yeah, not just from working out, but eating right, going to bed right, doing your schoolwork like you're supposed to. Because that's going to carry you further than most people are ever going to go on their athletics talents, is their educational stuff. So, and most of our kids do a great job in the classroom. We have a few that struggle here and there, but that's not unusual. But we try to help them as much as we can and keep them in the right path. But a lot of our kids are great, 3.5s and higher, and 3.0s and higher.
Yes.
We very seldom have an academic issue.
Do coaches recommend what the youngsters should be eating?
Oh, I think some do. I think some of them do more than others, but, I'm not going to say I ate like I was supposed to, but pizza was always on my agendas. I still don't, you're right. But I think things have changed over the years of what nutrition's out there and what people think about how you're supposed to do and how you train. So I hardly ever thought I've ever had 2 a day in my life, other than football practice back in high school. We never had early morning, didn't have many things in the summertime, didn't have weights.
Yes, that's right.
Very seldom do we do those things. But
When the school's closed in May or early June, that
better be in the park. So, but things have changed a little bit. AAU's kind of changed that for not, you think of AAU basketball, but you have AAU and everything. You can go wrestle all over the country. We have an 8th grade right now. It's at a boarding school in South Dakota wrestling. So you can go wherever you want, and whether it's gymnastics, and my daughter did gymnastics, and she could compete all year round if she wanted to every weekend.
Depends on how much money mom and dad want to spend, too.
Sometimes that's the case because, you go to those baseball, softball tournaments, it's a strung out 4 or 5 day event and they don't space you they space you out far enough that you got to stay for a while. It's a moneymaker for those communities that come in there. So whether it's good for the kids or not, I don't know, but it's a moneymaker. So.
Well, we're talking about sports and the problems that athletic directors have, but you've got a lot of company, haven't you?
Well, I think we're not in that boat alone, that's for sure. And, you know, every day we talk, many of us talk on a daily basis, and you just never know what. I know one of the guys that I on the board with, he just put his wrestling team in quarantine. So it's not unique to here. It's just, we'll just hope that day in our barrel doesn't keep coming at us and that we can get out of that situation. So.
Back to the girls sectional, will Conrathville be hosting one of these days?
Well, we'll meet in April and we'll discuss, depending on what class we're in. Once we find out if we're going to stay 3A or go back to 4A.
Okay.
Then we'll have a meeting and decide who's going to host for the next 2 years.
And that'll happen?
We should know prior to May.
Okay.
So by the time you get through the meeting and take it back to the IHSA, and they got to vote on everything. So we'll know should know before the springs or definitely before summer. But,
You know what I vote for?
yeah, you vote for single class basketball.
Well, but
and we
if
host every
can't have-
sectional that's out there.
But if we can't have that, I like 4A.
We'll go wherever they put us. So.
Sure.
And we'll fight like heck no matter what. And I think you kids got to know that it doesn't matter if you're 3A, 4A, 2A, there's still
Still gotta
good teams
compete.
out there, you know. And people have said, well, there's good teams in 3A, and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of good teams in 4A too, and there's teams in 2A that we would struggle with, and even down to single A.
Sure.
Tinley's pretty darn solid.
You're making a case for single class right there.
Well, I'm a fan of single class, but I know
It'll
as
never
hard
be
as
back.
it was to get it to change, it would be that many more times as hard to get it to go
It'll
back.
never happen.
So it'd have to take some act of miracle to make it turn backwards.
Well, I've covered a lot of subjects right now, so let's go back to basketball. That's basketball this time of the year. So we have some footage from the Spartans game with Newcastle at Spartan Bowl, and here it is.
Once the 150th meeting of the two schools is what John Harp of the radio station in Newcastle told us.
Do you know the overall record of it?
It's now 94 and 56.
On the good side or the bad
We're
side?
on the bad side of that. I think it's 40 or 39 and 34, 35 at the bowl.
That goes back
Newcastle.
quite a few years.
Yeah.
Number 4 had a good game for Newcastle, their leading point maker, but as the Spartans usually do, they take care of the fellow with the highest number of points. And
Jonah with a bullseye.
I think our guys do a good job of scouting and putting the plan together. Take away what their strengths are and make you go to your second or third options most of the time. For us right now, I think we're deep from people who can score, so that puts a little bit more difficulty on defense to know who's going to be the hot hand for the night.
And when you see Cole Martin be able to step out and take that three and then play underneath as well, it makes us hard to defend, I think.
Yeah, it's always good when your big guy can step out and shoot outside the perimeters because it makes the defense play a little bit differently than they would typically like to against a post player. I like watching James. He plays hard, and it's funny because everybody thinks he's left-handed, and he's really not. So but he does a lot of things with his left hand. Is equally as good as his right hand, which is great. Sees the floor well. Him and Josh both see the floor well.
They do. Jonah, another three.
Jonah shot the ball well this year. He struggled a little bit last year. I don't know if it's for whatever reason, but right now he's seen the goal and must look like a big
the kids.
Nice dump
big
down.
hula hoop up there too instead of a little basketball. Right?
Yeah.
Gage is getting better.
Yes.
I think the year off hurt him a little bit, but I think he's picking things up and he's getting kind of back to where he was.
Yeah, they
There
do
he is.
Great teamwork. And
I think our kids are unselfish.
Braxton's playing well. Talk about an unselfish kid, but and I've talked to Coach about this. It's truly they bought into the team concept.
Well, I agree. That you either got to do it the right way or you don't do it at all. And I think if you look at Braxton and you look at James, they're not always in the scoring column, but if you watch them, they're always on the best kid. And those two together, as athletic as they are, they both play good defense and they take you out. They try to take that best kid out, and they can help with each other. So
good win for the Spartans. And thanks everybody for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report.